guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Yolanda and welcome to Unfiltered Me. So I literally have to redo this video. I filmed it already like a few weeks ago and it just disappeared. So I was like, that's okay. We can do this again because I feel like I have like a better idea now that things have settled and it's currently week 7. I don't really know, something like that though. But I hope you guys will enjoy. This is my Q&A as a D1 athlete at Georgia Southern. So y'all, you can't miss this video. Like, best be sure, especially for like my upcoming like juniors, seniors into high school, like this will be very beneficial. Or for somebody who's trying to transfer for real, like not necessarily to my school, but just like in general, just like it's just always good to hear different thoughts and opinions. So that's that. Anyways, if you guys are interested, make sure to give this video a huge thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe down below. Make sure to turn on post notification, notified when I post. If I do, let's get on with this video. Alrighty, so starting with number 1 is what sport do you do and specifically what events? So I'm a long distance runner and mid distance technically. I run cross country and then that's the highest I've ever raced is a 5K, but back in the days, middle school, I would do like 4Ks and of course a 2-mile. But I also do track as well, and I do the 1600 meters, I do the 800 meters, I do the 400 if it's like the 4x4 or whatever. I do the 4x8 even though it's not a college collegiate one. The DMR, I guess if I have to be just like thrown in there. Other than that though, those are my events. Going on to question number 2 is what does your schedule look like? So for a day in the life, and you guys should go check out my day in the life as a D1 athlete, either that's already posted or is upcoming, something like that. Y'all, it's in the works. You're gonna be stressed half the time, but basically just my day consists of like waking up from the range of like 5:30 to 6:30ish and heading to practice. After practice, like I go to like treatment, but if I don't need treatment, I come back to the house, get ready for my day. Now if it's like a workout day, of course, or something like that, then like yeah, we finna like hit the gym for real, you know. Like it's either, I know like for some sports it's like either going to the weight room at the beginning of the day or going to practice later, or it can be flip-flopped. And you know, for us it just makes sense to do the run first and then, you know, work out. And I think that's like generic, like even for like my high school team it was kind of like put that way. I go to my classes and all, and then I just chill the rest of the day. If I have weight room, I go to weight room, but I just be eating a whole bunch and just be chilling and talking to people. I go to sleep relatively earlier, and I've been trying to now lately, especially as we're getting into this season. Pretty much that's what my schedule is. And now I know like it sounds like, oh, maybe not as bad, but like sometimes it can be stressful, especially like when there is like meetings and stuff to attend to, and those can range from like an hour to like 3 hours. It just really depends on like what kind of like event it is for real. But you know, at the same time I'm also adjusting as a freshman, but I feel like for the most part it's a little bit chaotic. It's like, especially when it's like, you know, sometimes you might get like the pop-up meetings here or there, or you might get like a, I don't know, just things can always just be turned around, like you never really know. But I do really enjoy being here. So yes, no matter the chaos, like everything's gonna work, everything's gonna like, you know, all turn out the way it needs to be. So that's, at the end of the day, I be sleeping at night real good, so that's all that matters. Number 3 is how do you choose the right college? So this is very important, y'all. Let me tell you, just because a school has good athletics does not mean that you need to lack in your other categories. Like you need to make sure you also fall in love with the area. Make sure like just academically though too, that like you're heading in the right direction. A lot of people, you know, don't want to pursue like past college like professionally in that sense. Now there are some people that do, so like, but at the same time like you need to have that backup. It's always good to have like that. And you never know what's gonna happen. You never know what's gonna be your last competition, just race in general, or last practice or whatever. And so it's just like you need something to fall back on and to have that degree. And also a lot of schools, like I know at least from my school, there's a lot of doors to open up if you really like lock in with your work though, y'all. Like there's so many opportunities that they provide here at Georgia Southern for students, and especially for athletes though too. and it's really important to take advantage of that. And I feel like it'd just be a waste of experience to just only be focused on, you know, being the athlete part, because yes, that can take you far in life. I've learned a lot of lessons and things through life, of course, but also I think it's good to really immerse yourself in the full experience and actually like dive in, just like not only figuring out the person who you are athletically, but also academically, and even outside of both of those, like making sure to have like a social life and everything like that though too. At the end of the day, just make sure like you know, I never really had like a dream school, if that makes sense. It was just like, this just worked out, you know. You really need to make your pros and cons list, because ultimately, like, once you make that decision, it's really, it's not hard to transfer, but it's definitely, it makes things difficult, especially with like credits, because some schools may not take credits, or some of them would. So yeah, other than that though, how do you choose between D1, D2, D3 and privates? I know a lot of like private schools, now they say they give a lot of money for that, but they do technically, but at the same time they still turn out to be so much expensive. D3 schools now, they don't give out any like money. I think academically they can, but that's just like regularly through the school. But D2, D1, that's when you can get like scholarships and things of that manner. Definitely running D1, it's definitely a lot. Sometimes it's very intense, but like, you know, that's a part of it, because it's like you're like at the top of the division. Now yes, there can be D2 schools that are like more like better than D1 schools. I think ultimately at the end of the day, like, decide where you want to like whichever category of whatever sport you're doing. The best decision is based on your goals for like how you want to end off your career, as in, if that makes sense. Now there's some people who may want to like just run it all out and see where they're at and just like yada yada and go D1, but I know like there's a lot of people that just like want to run for fun and still like have that love and not have to have that intensity that's just too much to bear sometimes, and just decide to go D3 or to go to like a small like private school, which is totally fine. But I definitely think that like, oh yeah, like if you want to go professional one day and do like some big things, D1, D2, that's your level. Because there's a lot of D2 schools that are just as good as D1. So I'm not gonna like, you know, make it seem like, oh yeah, if you go D1, that's the only way to be successful. Like, no, definitely that. But I tend to see a lot of people that do just like want to like find that passion again for the sport, and to really just like, I don't know, like just appreciate more without like all the added like extra stuff, I guess, in a sense. I guess it's different when it's like money's not on the table, when it's just like people purely being there because they genuinely love running. Not to say people from like other divisions don't want to be there because of that reason, but it's definitely a different vibe of more like, you know, definitely more competitive and intense, and a lot more challenging. Which I'm sure, like, you know, D3 schools do still do things that are challenging. Going back to the idea, it's just different when money is involved, you know. Because at the end of the day, like, you know, when a coach invests in the player, like, you want them to succeed and to want to do better or whatever. And it's just, like, it can come off maybe sometimes across a different way. I don't know. But I just heard just different experiences. I mean, at the end of the day, like, you know, it just at the end of the day really differentiates person to person and all. Anyways though, we're going on to number 5 is, how is the intensity in high school versus college? So I definitely would say, and this is an piece of advice I heard from somebody, it's intense, I guess, in the terms of like demanding more schedule, 100% for sure. But once again, like I'm saying, like with money on the table, it's like you have to, like, you know, if that makes sense. Like I do feel like, especially when it comes down, I guess, to like workouts and just runs in general, that like it's definitely more like, I wouldn't say relaxed, but not as like intense, because it's just all ultimately saved for competition, if that makes sense. It's just a different approach. It's definitely interesting. I do like practice a lot. It's really fun. Yeah, I'm doing more mileage essentially than I have ever really in high school, but I feel like it's intense, but mainly just towards the schedule part. But for workouts and stuff, it's just different. I don't really know how to pinpoint it in a way to, like, you know, but it's just different. Okay, number 6 is, my junior season did not go well. Do I still have a chance? Yes, you do. So let me tell you, my junior season did not turn out the way that I expected either. That year, it was the first year without my coach that I had, you know, anticipated to have for 4 years. Love him, great guy. But you know, after the coaching switching, things were definitely different, and I think it's really hard just in general, change is hard, but especially when it's like a coach, it's like, you know, do I trust the plan or do I not? Yada yada. It's kind of like a gamble, and I just ended up not PRing one of my seasons, and which is fine because I mean it was like my junior year or whatever, but you know, in a way I think I needed that in order to really like make me want to work hard in my senior year, because I knew the goal that I wanted to run D1. I didn't know where at the time, but I knew I wanted to, and so I think you definitely have a chance. And I think coaches do like to see that, like, yeah, despite X, Y, and Z, you were still able to, you know, pick up the pieces and really we're still able to be consistent and shave off time and to just perform well in general. And so definitely I think there's still a chance, which is why also when you think it's too late to sign, it's not, because there's a lot of people that still sign in March, April, May, June even, because there's always money left up for y'all. Like, now there's some cases where it's just like there's no money, but I remember like my year I was like stressing because, you know, like at some point they are gonna like be like, hey, if you don't decide, we're gonna like chop some money off, and or you may not be able to run it all without a scholarship. Not saying this school did it to me, but like, you know, other places of course. And you just never know. You never know what to expect out of your season. So don't lose hope is what I'm trying to say. Like, don't lose hope. Even if you may not be where you're at cross country season, there is still time track season 2. Like, y'all got this. You gotta have belief in yourself though. This is red flags in a school. So here I got y'all for this. So I think definitely a red flag is if most of the team are really just like, I guess, freshmen. It's just like question mark. Now there are some cases where it's just like, okay, we understand what happened here, but like if it's that, it's just like what happened to make all like the upperclassmen or whatever like leave, or like even the sophomores and all. But there is some cases where it's like literally the whole team was juniors, sophomores, and seniors. So it's just like, you know, if that just naturally happens, then that naturally happens, you know. So, you know, that happens. But that's definitely a thing to just like look out for, is just the, yeah, also to see if people are progressing. If you see people just not doing well or near the times where you want to be at, that's a factor that can be a red flag for some people. And I think last but not least is if a lot of people are redshirted. That is 100% I think should be at the top list. If more than, honestly, if more than 50% of the team is redshirted, move cautiously, right? So you might love to rep their colors, and you might be like, oh my gosh, that's such a cute, like, it looks so cute in photos and everything like that. Move cautiously, because y'all you don't want to like be added to that too. Like, you know, last but not least, number 8 is something you wish before signing. Something I definitely wish I knew is that, like, if you want to try on the outfit, you can try on the uniform. I wish I asked my first visit, because I went a second time and it's a 4-hour drive from me, so I'm just like, you know, but like definitely that, like, ask all and any questions. It's not dumb at all, and it's important because at the end of the day, this is where you're spending the rest, well, you're hoping to spend the rest of your 4 years at. And so definitely that. I think another thing to also consider is like, what is like the plan to action when it comes to injuries and stuff? How is that handled? Because I think that definitely says a lot about some schools. And as I've toured some, as some of you personally might know where I've toured at, you can tell when like coaches care versus when it's just like a business type of transaction. I just think that definitely, like, you can tell, like, if I guess in a sense I'm trying to say, you can tell when a team or like a coach or whatever is gonna care. And I think that's really important, is to make sure that you have the connection, because that's when they be your coach. So if you vibe, it's gonna be cool, hopefully. If you don't vibe, imagine how the rest of, like, you know, your years are gonna go. And it's like, what kind of experience ultimately do you want? I get it, the colors might be cute, the free gear might be nice, X, Y, and Z, but like ultimately, like, this is where you're like beginning your new life at. And it's like, what do you want to make out of your experience? Do you want to sit here, be miserable with somebody who would care less about you, or do you want like a good cultivated environment with the coach and the teammates who like actually like appreciate your existence there and want you to get better in health and will work with you? You know what I'm saying? And I think the last thing is what I kind of touched in my last point, is the fact that, like, actually in the point from earlier, it's just like there is a specific time when it's like too late, where it's just like y'all like on the cusp line. But like for the most part, like don't stress too much if it's like not your season cross country of your senior year. Like you still have time to pop off in track, and I just think that's something you should especially like note in your emails. Like, yeah, I know I didn't do the best, but this is what I'm working on, X, Y, and Z, and the ways you're working towards your action. I think that speaks a lot about character, and that you're willing to grow and to learn from that, you know, may not have been greatest race. And it definitely sticks out to coaches, and that's, you know, kind of like how my process had went, because the beginning of my cross country season was not the best, but then it progressively got better, and I PR'd in cross country and track season. And yeah, so that's the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed and that it was helpful. This is my Q&A as a D1 athlete, and just my take on things. And leave your questions or comments concerning the comment section down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peace is already out.